Welcome.
Yes.
All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here in person or watching online. Please mute or silence your cell phones to respect everyone's time. And also, council members, please use your microphones. I just want to remind people to use your mics so everybody can hear. We'll start off with calling to order the Wednesday, April 6th Town Council Work Session at 6:02 p.m. And we will move on forward. Roll call of members. All members are present. Approval of the agenda. Do I have a movement to approve the agenda?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. Liaison and commission reports. I will start with Ms. Clement. Okay. I'll go with it. I don't know, just switching it up.
Good evening, everyone. I want to say hi to Dr. Mitchell. Dr. Mitchell, hi. And members of the school board. Hi, guys. I know Dr. Mitchell's here to present the budget. Not our favorite thing, but this will be interesting. Before we get to that, I want to applaud our Colonial Beach Elementary School students, along with their PE teacher, Mr. Hickson. They raised $7,451.81 during the Kids Heart Challenge to support the American Heart Association. And also, our JV softball team has home games against WNL and West Point at 5 p.m. on April 11th, Monday. So maybe we can go there and support them. Thank you.
Mr. Ronquier? All right. Ms. Robinson?
I want to thank Dr. Mitchell for meeting with each of us and explaining things that need to be explained. I appreciate that. Good luck on testing. I know that's coming up very soon as well. And the sand looks absolutely fantastic that Public Works put down. Thank you.
All right. All right. Head to this side, Dr. South Sullivan.
Well, the season is upon us, and there's handouts, so I'm going to run through this really quickly. There are handouts at the front. There's some handouts in the foyer, in the vestibule too. Three things that didn't even make it on this list because they came in last minute, but the Colonial Beach Humane Society is very, very active in the trap, neuter, and return and feral cat colony program. And last year, I think they did a total of 114 cats. And since 2017, they have done over 538 cats. And that has prevented the birth of 400,000 feral kittens in this town. So if it wasn't for them, think about how overrun we might be with feral cats. So there's a dedicated group of volunteers that do that and a dedicated group of donors that support it. Colonial Beach River Dogs has a new volunteer that's helping to maintain the petway stations at the dog park. And I also want to remind you that WWER is open and available to do PSAs for any of the events and things coming up. The Alliance of Colonial Beach Community Organization. The Alliance actually authored the proclamation you're going to hear later today about Keep Colonial Beach Beautiful. It's to kick off the campaign that they are the driving force behind, that's being helped with by all of the other NGOs in town. They'll be at Osprey Festival. They will start meeting quarterly this month, and they continue to work with Green Space on a recommitment ceremony called Love in the Park. It's going to be held in June. So if you're ready to recommit to your loved one, please join us for that. There are lots of volunteer opportunities that we can expose you to, and if you'd like to get on the email list for volunteer needs, please follow the information there. I'm coming to the table, which is the Interracial Conversations group here in Colonial Beach. We are reading Cousins by Betty Kilby Baldwin and Phoebe Kilby in March and April, and the authors of Cousins will actually join us via Zoom for a book discussion on April 26th. The James Monroe Birthplace Would like to thank Colonial Beach Community Foundation for their generous beautification grant. The birthday place will be open on Sunday, April 10th, in support of the Osprey Festival weekend. And then on April 23rd, beginning at 10:30, they will have their annual James Monroe birthday celebration. There will be costume docents and refreshments and tours and speeches. So make sure you get a chance to stop by there. The Village, which is one of our local NGOs that helps people age in place, supporting us younger people are supporting the older folks. And they will resume the monthly luncheons on the third Thursday this month. And they also have a game day that will resume on the first Thursday of each month. The Colonial Beach Community Foundation has awarded a bunch of beautification grants to the Colonial Beach Theater, the Performing Arts, the Artists Guild, the James Monroe Birthplace, the Historic Society, and actually to Town Council to improve our wayfaring signage in town. The March meet and greet was held at the Ice House, and our town manager, India Adams Jacobs, was speaking there, and we had probably the largest attendance we've had come out to hear her speak. I don't know if it was India or if it was the brewery beer, but we had over 50 people that came out there. In April, the meetup is on the 21st at Peddler's Market, and Kathy Moran from the Artists Guild will be speaking. The Board of Directors is holding their annual strategic planning meeting in April. They will have a booth at the Osprey Festival. The Love Golf Cart ornaments are still available. And they remind you that to mark your calendar for September 10th for the 4th Annual Northern Neck Beach Music Festival. The foundation will also be holding a building community raffle this year. Tickets are $50 and the winner gets $5,000, with $5,000 going to the foundation. That drawing will be held at the Beach Music Festival. The civic groups, the 4 that report to us, the American Legion, the VFW, the Moose Lodge, and the Eagles, basically have their regular meetings this month, and that's all the information I have from them. Colonial Beach Green Space has several events coming up on April 23rd. They will be spearheading the Earth Day community cleanup. And again, that's part of our Keep Colonial Beach Beautiful campaign. On May the 13th, we'll have a concert at the community center to support the Oyster War historic highway marker that we are going for. They are also supporting the community garden. They are working on the keeping the Irving Avenue Riverwalk up. They're working on a Walter Kern Memorial Fund and an Osprey Cam Fund. They're also working with Parks and Rec on an Adopt a Park program. And we have 12 donations for palm trees on the beach. Thank you very much. I think we can take 2 more, if I'm not mistaken. So if you wanna sponsor a palm tree. One more, okay. The Historical Society Museum is now open on Saturdays and Sundays from 1 to 4, and the Memories of Colonial Beach meets on Saturday, October 23rd at 1 p.m. at Hunan. The Artists Guild will have our Friday art walk starting on Friday, and they are working on additional love photo op signs with the goal of setting a record to have more love signs in Colonial Beach than anywhere else in the state of Virginia. Downtown Colonial Beach, their big event is the Osprey Festival on Saturday, featuring nationally known Osprey expert Dr. Poole via the internet, and local birding experts, and a live raptor demonstration featuring a barred owl and a red-tailed hawk, educational golf cart and trolley tours of the Osprey Nest in town. They continue to work with the Rural Community Development Initiative, and they are coordinating placements of ads for the town of Colonial Beach and Colonial Beach businesses in new historic district tours guide. And finally, the Chamber of Commerce, the boat show is still planned for April 23rd. The next meeting is April 12th. They are hosting the regular Easter egg hunt for kids at 10 a.m. on Town Hill on Saturday, April 16th. The visitor's guide is just a few days away from going to press. The award center is scheduled for May 10th. The chamber will give 5 scholarships to Colonial Beach High School students this year. The Economic Development Committee has helped finalize recruiting for the 8 food truck court spaces available this year. They have also been very engaged with the Rural Community Development Initiative and Riot. They are making good progress on an apprenticeship program that will match high school juniors and seniors with local businesses. And Mike Fitzpatrick and Kelly Vaughn, on behalf of the Chamber's Economic Development Committee, have formed an executive leadership team for the Northern Neck and Fredericksburg region of the Alzheimer's Association, and they will be walking this fall and looking for your support. That's it.
All right, Mr. Williams.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Just a few updates for Public Works. First off, the town pier, just talked to Mr. Murphy. We're about 20 feet away from finishing, plus some pilings and stuff that have to go in, but we are on target for the May 15th deadline. Let's see. Also, the central drainage areas is on target, but we also have a few changes that Mr. Murphy will mention in the future about that. And potholes, I know a lot of people in town are concerned about all the potholes. So we're actually scheduled to have a contractor come in sometime, I think, in May to repair some of those. Let's see. Water pressure issue that a few residents have raised about the town hill, and then also where the new development's going to go on the boardwalk. The town's actually going to look into that and require some construction work, but they're looking into that for the citizens who've been concerned. As Karen mentioned, the palm trees went up. I know some people love them, some people hate them, but I just wanted to thank Public Works for at least putting them up. I'm not sure if everybody realizes, but it is Public Works time and energy that goes into getting those out. So appreciate that. And then also I wanted to mention that I've been contacted by a number of residents in the last couple of weeks concerned about right-of-ways and easements in town. So I'm following up with the town manager and Public Works on that so I can communicate more intelligently with the residents in town, because there's a lot of people that have concerns about the maintenance and also water issues and stuff like that. So. But that's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Allison.
Okay. So I'll start off with Parks and Rec. So April 3rd, last Sunday, they had a soccer pop-up. There were a bunch of kids there, roughly around 30 kids. They had a great time running around, kicking balls. Our kids were there. So it was a lot of fun watching them play, and kind of chilly for us parents, but we made it work. They do have a youth soccer program that's going on right now. Sign-ups sheets or registration sheets can be found on the CB website along with waivers. So that's going to be a 6-week instruction. It's going to be $20 per kid. So if you're interested in that, please go on the website or contact Bobby Duke, Parks Rec Director, and they can lead you in the right place. To go along with the Osprey Festival, on April 10th, we're going to have Kite Day, which will be on the beach. So you come down, fly a kite. There are a few that Bobby has that can be used, but you can buy them on Amazon, Walmart, wherever else that you want to find one. But you can do that as well. They recently had the second and third graders came and played mini golf. They kind of had a little instruction for them. About 21 kids, they said, showed up for that, and they said they had a great time. So I hope that we continue that into the future to try to get the kids out playing and that kind of stuff. Just a second. Tennis program. There is an adult, intermediate, and advanced course that they're going to have at Torrey Smith at 5:30 p.m. on April 20th. So if anybody is an intermediate or advanced player,
Not me.
go play some tennis. Switch gears to the Planning Commission. The only update I have is that the Planning Commission did vote on the conditional use permit for phase 3 for Dotson. Those are the condos that are on the boardwalk, which include the restaurants proposed at the bottom underneath of it. One is a seafood restaurant and another one is a pizza barcade type restaurant. And that was unanimously passed on their end, so that'll be coming to town council on the 20th. That's all I have.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm gonna try not to repeat anything that anybody else had. I was at the town pier though this morning and talked to Larry, and progress is going along really well. And I was also really, he was assuring about the time that the repairs will give us to do the ultimate solution, which is to get a new pier. And he did indeed encourage very much that that needs to happen. So I said I'd pass that along, and that we were all looking forward to that, and that we should get about 5 to 10 years out of what's happening now. And that was good. And he said this was a great solution, but that the next step is really to be looking for a new town pier. We know that, but you know, Larry has a lot of experience in this, Mr. Rui, and I just really appreciated his outlook on it. And he's doing a great job, of course, as you know he will. They still have to do the pilings for the lower part where the boat docking part is to the left there. I want to thank the DuPont Foundation, which donated to fund the next cycle of RAFT, which is our Resiliency Adaptation Feasibility program that Colonial Beach is formed the planning or the Resiliency Commission under the Planning Commission. And the DuPont's funding is going to give additional assistance for Sierra Gladfeather and the UVA team that was supporting us before to continue their support here. So I just want to thank them. There will be an article coming out about Colonial Beach in the UVA Alumni Magazine, and so look forward to that. It's going to be a few months, they said. But we took some photos today, which brought me to the town pier, which brought me to Larry Bowie. So I also want to congratulate CB Games. The diner opened since our last meeting, and I was at the grand opening to that. And also, of course, Ace Hardware, where Man and Ada still are indeed there to assist us all. But the Costellos were just really wonderful to meet, and very welcoming and very community oriented, and want to continue to support community events, nonprofit organizations and small town projects, and asked us about supporting that. So, you know, Lloyd and Bev did a lot of that when they were in charge of Rankins. And so it's nice to see that that's going to continue with the new ownership. I want to invite everybody out to the Osprey Festival Extravaganza is what I'm going to call it, because it really is more than just that Saturday event. It is the art walk on Friday, it is the Saturday event, and then Sunday is coupled with this kite flying, with soaring with the Osprey, with your kites and your kids. And the soccer pop-up was fun, and Teach looked like he was wearing a dress in his little jersey, but he was out there doing his thing, and the kids had a great time. So I'm looking forward to kite flying, because it's April's a windy month, so we should have good weather for it. And I have a couple kites from Nag's Head, so I'm looking to bring them out and use them. Anyway, I just invite everybody to come and join in. And then I also want to let people know there is going to be an Easter egg hunt that the Baptist Church is sponsoring at the Colonial Beach Baptist, one block behind us, on this following Saturday. There's more events in April, but we'll have one more meeting before we get to those. So, lots going on. Fun times in Colonial Beach, and spring indeed is here. All right, next up is the proclamation for Keep Colonial Beach Youth. Before I read the proclamation, I just want to thank everyone who was involved with this commitment. It was probably about a year ago that I did a Facebook Live video where I was pretty much disgusted with the trash that was left around town. And I just see absolutely no reason for it to happen, and we need to take care of our environment and our community, and we need to all be setting that example, and also be letting our kids know to pick up after themselves. We have some really beautiful places in town, but if you leave trash on them, they quickly become not beautiful places, and we all deserve a healthy and clean environment to live in and live around. And so I'm glad to see this initiative take some hold. I'd like to encourage anybody who's watching or anybody out there to continue to please be aware of litter and pick up after yourself, and also encourage other people to do so. I will be visiting Troy Smith this season often. I will be inviting the police department to join me, and I'd be happy to talk to kids about that on a regular basis. From that time period, also, Miss Natalie Roy has volunteered to clean the Troy Smith bathrooms. She's also a pretty big advocate for picking up your litter there. So if it's not me, it'll be Miss Natalie. If it's not us, it'll be, Parks and Rec or PD. But we just want to make sure we maintain a beautiful place for everyone. So with that said, keeping Colonial Beach beautiful. Whereas Colonial Beach is blessed with an abundance of natural beauty and has the second longest sandy coastline in Virginia. And whereas the town of Colonial Beach is proud of its natural resources and neighborhoods and seeks to protect and improve our community through the action of citizens, schools, governments, and businesses working together. And whereas Keep Colonial Beach Beautiful aims to enhance the livability and attractiveness of Colonial Beach, and whereas Keep Colonial Beach Beautiful empowers our citizens and visitors to take greater responsibility regarding solutions for a clean and beautiful environment through the community awareness and public education regarding litter prevention, beautification, water shoreline cleanliness, wildlife protection, and recycling. And whereas through public and private partnerships working together on projects that keep our environment clean and free of litter, we beautify our neighborhoods and public spaces and instill pride and a sense of ownership in our community. And whereas it is incumbent upon Colonial Beach residents and visitors to maintain and preserve our beautiful natural resources and to enhance our environment and quality of life. Now therefore, the Town Council of Colonial Beach, Virginia hereby proclaims April 2022 as the official start of the Keep Colonial Beach Beautiful campaign, and calls upon our citizens to join in activities that promote responsible environmental stewardship and help us renew our commitment to building a better world today for future generations. Now let's do it. Let's keep it. Heather, do I have anybody signed up for today? Nobody signed the sheet. Is there anybody for citizen input today? Okay, we'll keep on rolling. Old business, ARPA update, final ruling, town staff. I don't know, is Ms. Oaks or Ms. Indiana?
Good evening. We're going to give you an update on the ARPA funding. That's the American Rescue Plan Act. They have, the final rule has come down from the Treasury, has expanded the uses for ARPA funding, provides greater flexibility and simplicity for local governments. A little bit of background. Treasury released the final rule January 6th. They structured the final rule with the smallest recipients in mind. Recipients can take advantage of the expanded flexibilities in the final rule now. It provides greater flexibility and simplicity, and it takes effect April 1st. The new standard allowance for revenue loss is one of the expanded and simplistic items that they put in the final rule. We can now elect to use the standard allowance up to $10 million and spend the funds on general government services through the life of the program. This simplifies the compliance and reporting of small localities. General government services include any service traditionally provided traditionally provided by the government. Payroll and benefits of workers are the simplest allocation of these funds. Without these expenses, no services can be provided. ARPA funds could replace your salary and benefit expenses, freeing those funds for use however council determines. So the issue with some of the ARPA issues, some of the ARPA items and uses is the complex tracking and reporting required. The federal procurement is a requirement, and it would in fact impact our staff. We would need additional staffing in finance to help with the accounting and procurement and reporting of those types of expenses. So the alternatives, we can use our ARPA funds for our water and sewer infrastructure, which we have discussed previously. Again, this would require us to add additional staff to manage those projects and to comply with the federal procurement, track the expenses, and report to the Treasury. We can use this new standard allowance exemption, and we can report all of our salary and benefits as a government service expense, which takes the salary and benefit expenses savings and frees those funds to use as council determines. So our impact, if we choose a standard allowance exemption, we still have the same amount of dollars. It's not going to change. We'll just have more flexibility on how and when we can spend them. And using funds for the infrastructure, some funds could still be used. Some funds would have to be used for additional staff to manage those projects. Our recommendation today is to elect to use that standard allowance for the revenue loss that they put into the new final rule. That would free us up to have more time, be able to use the funds for other projects that aren't included now under the infrastructure. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you.
Anybody got any questions?
You need action from us? Do you
Sorry?
need us to take any action? Yes.
Well, we will need to come to some conclusion and have some direction from council on what we want to do. We had discussed this before, and I believe we had something about using it strictly for the infrastructure, the project that's already started in the central drainage area. We could still go that, but again,
I mean, do you need action to use this standard allowance instead of doing it the other way?
Yes, it would be best if council gives us direction to elect the $10 million exemption.
So I would make a motion that we do so.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Further discussion on that? I know that one of the concerns that finance department had was following federal procurement and the enormous amount of bureaucracy that is involved in that. And so I think that's the key. And I think at this point that we're dedicating the funds to anything except for the infrastructure projects, which we already have dedicated them to.
and another part of that is the project management.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, that would be necessary.
yes.
If I may, just to clarify the point that you're making, Madam Mayor, just to, if you would add to the motion, just to clarify that the ARPA funds would be used for salaries, and then therefore the freed up monies, local monies, would then be used for the infrastructure. It's a technicality, but that's the key to not having to use federal procurement procedures.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
So I would amend my motion to say that.
Or it's clarified as the attorney. Yes, Mr. Williams.
Yes, I wasn't prepared to take any action on this tonight because this says information purposes only. The citizens haven't really had a chance to look at this. I mean, I just feel like there shouldn't be a rush to hold it until next meeting where council typically takes actions during regular meetings. But my only other concern is that we originally were going to put this towards infrastructure. I think there should be some kind of clause in there where it most definitely goes to infrastructure.
So I think what the attorney was just clarifying was that in order to use the rule, in order to not have to go to the level of the federal procurement stuff, is that we dedicate it to salary, but then the freed up money is dedicated to infrastructure, basically in exchange. Or do you want to
Yeah,
clarify?
so all we're, as the town, all we're trying to do is lift the restrictions that we would otherwise have to go through to even set aside the 1.1 million toward infrastructure projects, okay? It's all total the same amount of money, it's just you're putting them into two cookie jars. In this cookie jar, the ARPA funds go and pay salaries. In the other cookie jar that we would have taken those monies out of our operational budget to pay towards salaries, we're gonna apply those to capital projects and others. So under this umbrella, those 1.1, call it, of infrastructure projects are still being taken care of. It's just, you're not earmarking the ARPA monies to do it, because then you would have red tape tied to it. So that's the gist of that. So that'll create additional costs and expenses, which will pull away from your ARPA dollars or any other dollars. So you'd be adding cost on yourself unintentionally, unintended consequences, right? Versus under the de minimis rule, basically, and if you're under $10 million, you can do this varsity shift with the monies and effectively free it up.
Okay. So I guess my concern is, maybe you can address it, is this is going into the capital improvement budget. And so is there a chance for this stuff to get funneled off into other special projects, or can we assure that it will be used for infrastructure?
I think the intention is for $1.1 million to get used at least to the project y'all earmarked. It's just essentially, you're not earmarking the ARPA dollars, you're earmarking your operational dollars for going toward those projects. And if I've misspoken, Lisa can correct me.
We will still account for these ARPA funds separate